No, it's pretty much the highlight of the evening.
Darby made a what?
A sweet
A
pearl
sweet
Pearl
necklace
set.
set in
pearl,
silver.
yeah.
It was pretty cool.
A wedding necklace.
Mm-hmm.
And then we proceeded to have a full-on blow-by-blow wedding with
Yep.
actual vows, and Foxglove showed up. There was insult contests, which
Peeping Tomery.
Tom's.
that's
Yeah.
true. There was advice to the brides and grooms. We learned why K-Wine is known as K-Wine the Generous. What else did we learn? Let's see here. The Morwen did not show up, despite the fact that Richard kept doing significant pauses, which
Oh, that was the best thing ever. It was just watching Ben's face at each significant pause.
yes, I was certain at some point something awful was going to happen, but no, nothing awful happened. I don't know if I'm disappointed or what.
And so they were all the bad omens.
She did trip over the threshold, and the sword was chipped when he thrust it into the pillar.
Yep.
So,
True. And they were drinking out of a horn.
that's a more normal
That's a-
thing.
It's a
Different
whole other
game.
game, but
Yeah, different game.
Wait, have you been watching those?
Have I been
guess.
watching?
I think he didn't mean to say that. Like, I don't think he knows
Yeah.
what our thing with the horn is. Do you know? Do you get the reference from the Dark Eye?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Oh, just let me just say, you should always wash your horns before you drink out of them.
Especially the magic ones from like Orc
Minotaurs.
Temple.
All right, so wedding of Kewina and Astrid.
Indeed. And yeah, there was drinking and insult contests, and essentially that rounded out the evening.
Yep.
We had one final fellowship phase, and that was it.
Did some wheel and woe table rolls
This is
Oh,
true.
yeah.
and a year-end fellowship phase.
Puppies.
That's right. I got a sweet sword, or improved my sword.
And we will be beginning on in the spring of 2961, in the 5th day of Astron, which is about the 28th of March.
Open in bed.
The
No, she wants a drink. Open in bed. Have one. No, she will not.
sorry,
Oh. Good.
Tears has been sick today, and they have been generally a little bit needier this evening. All right. So you have all been called together in the spring of 2961, during the late during the fading days of winter, as the snows were beginning to melt, and the rivers were beginning to flow freely again, and new green life places outside of Mirkwood was just beginning to sprout and shoot. You each received a summons to come to Blacktarn Hall as quickly as possible from Radagast the Brown. And for some of you, Illyri, you were staying in Rosgobel with Radagast anyway. For others, it's a bit longer of a trip. But one way or another, over the last few weeks, you have made your way south to Blacktarn Hall. And it is now the evening of the 5th of Astron. And you find yourselves standing around the hearth in the great hall of Amaleota, the Lady of the Black Tarn. And the people have more or less cleared the hall out. Radagast the Brown is here, as are the four of you, along with Ranny Swiftfoot, who is one of Beorn's errand runners that most of you have not met before, obviously except for you, Warsong. And there was...
Wasn't she at the wedding?
She was at the wedding, that's true. Yes. Yeah. Yes, so you would have met her at the wedding. If you remembered her, it sort of depends on how much time you would have spent with her. And and then also there are 3 elves here whom I don't think anybody but Narvi, you would recognize. Well, each of you recognizes, except for Illyria, I think, recognizes at least one elf. Sorry, I've got to retrain my brain for new names. It's not Tinuel. Gosh, Duvaniel.
Died.
There we go. Yeah, Tinuel's dead. Duvaniel, one of the elves is your old master, Ormol the Lamp Maker. Together with him, there are 2 other elves, both of whom you recognize, though you don't know either of them very well. One of them is Keloth the Marchwarden, and the other is Maglor, the captain of the Scouts of the Southern Wild. Warsong, you've met him before, as has Ranny. And of course, Narvi knows Keloth. So
Is Alric there?
he is not.
So she didn't travel with him.
No, Warsong is here because she specifically received a summons from Radagast. Radagast, and you've all eaten and drunk, and Radagast has sat down by the fire and put a pipe in his mouth, which he's lit, and the smoke rings that he blows sort of hang very sorcerously over his head and kind of linger for a moment before flitting and fluttering away up through the hole in the roof in the shapes of birds and large moths. And he looks at all of you after a long pause. And the hall has been mostly silent. The elves have been keeping to themselves, have said very little, mostly waiting for Radagast to speak. And at last he says, "Well, my friends, I've called each one of you together this evening because each one of you has played some part in the story of the Lamp of Balthi. Some of you," and he kind of motions his head towards Warsong and Ranny, "have played a part that you do not yet fully understand, while others," and he very pointedly does not look at you, Duvaniel, "others have had a more direct role. The time to brood upon past wrongs is over. If we are to rescue the lamp and the woodman, the time to act has come. I have asked Ormol, the lamp maker, to be present," and he motions towards Ormol and the other elves, along with 2 of Thranduil's warriors. Their place in this council will become evident soon enough. But for now, I would ask Ormol to stand up and tell us what he has learned of the true history of the Lamp of Balthi. Ormol steps forward. And y'all are free to interject or ask questions or whatever, just as kind of reaches up and pulls a silver strand of hair out of his face. Feanor, the greatest smith of the Eldar, in the deeps of time, forged many great gems. The greatest of these, of course, were the Silmarils, which are lost, and with which the doom of the first age of this world was involved. But there were other gems, too, crystals made when Feanor was still honing his craft. Tribute to the light of the two trees of Valinor as they shone in the first days of the world, bright and hopeful and unmarred. And some of these crystals the Noldor brought with them into exile out of the west. In the Second Age, Celebrimbor of Holland and I wrought the crystals into 2 lamps, which were to hang before the fortress of Amon Lanc when Orufer was still king of the Woodland Realm. After the destruction of Eregion by the armies of Sauron, I carried the 2 lamps out of the ruin and brought them over the misty mountains to Mirkwood, to the hill of Amon Lanc, where King Orufer hung them in a place of honor above his gates. There, the lamps hung for more than 3,000 years, until the shadow first descended upon the forest. When Thranduil decided to abandon the Naked Hill to move his capital north to the safety of the caves which he now occupies, the lamps were escorted by a company of picked elven warriors as one of the great treasures of the realm. On the way, though, they were ambushed by countless spiders, and all were slain. The lamps were lost, and it was assumed that they were both destroyed by these great spiders, for it is said that the unhappy children of Ungoliant consume gems and jewels as a lesser spider sucks the juices from its prey. In truth, though, it seems to me that none of the spiders could endure the light of the lamp, even though they hungered for the beauty and the power within. In the end, the 2 lamps seem to have come into the hands of the necromancer, who locked them away in Dol Guldur. What he intended to corrupt them or hide them away forever from the elves, I do not know. More than 500 years ago, the necromancer returned to Dol Guldur and sought for ways to increase his power. His servants found a slumbering spirit from the elder days, one which long ago our people had blasted with beams of light, wounding it and causing it to flee to the dark caverns under Mirkwood to nurse its wounds. Sauron convinced the spirit to serve him, first by threatening it with the light of the lamps, and then by giving the spirit one of the lamps to destroy. The werewolf of Mirkwood was braver than the spiders, it seems. It endured the agony of the light because its hatred was stronger, and it destroyed one of the lamps. It is my belief that this lamp is the same lamp which Navi found, he and his companions, in the caves under the mountains of Mirkwood. As for the other lamp, this is Radagast's tale to tell. Ormal sits back down. Radagast nods, and without standing, he takes a puff at his pipe. And he continues. More than 900 years ago, as men reckon time, Gandalf the Grey, my brother wizard, entered Dol Guldur. It was when the necromancer came the first time. Gandalf drove him out, for his power was not yet gathered. And Gandalf found one of the lamps still intact. He recognized its power, and carried it out of the dungeon with him. This lamp he entrusted to the young woodman Balthy, who had guided him through the forest. Now, Gandalf is famously close about his own counsel.
Go to bed. Go. I'm sorry if you have to.
It is a curious thing that Gandalf never told the elves of his discovery. He looks briefly at you, Duvanio. He told the woodmans to place the lamp inside a glass case, hiding its shape, but letting its radiance burn forth. For 50 generations, the lamp has hung from the rafters in the great house of the Woodman Town, Woodland Hall, and only the wizards and a few descendants of Balthy have known about its true origins. That is, we know now. What Ormal and I have just told you is the result of many years of searching and many months of careful guessing. It's not been easy to piece this back together. That is when you all enter the story. When Duvanio and Amras and the other elves stole the lamp from Woodland Hall. Somehow, the servants of Dol Guldur were made aware of their movements before they had even left Woodman Town. The lamp, I keep saying Woodman Town, Woodland Hall. The lamp was carried away by the fell lieutenant of Dol Guldur, and many of those who sought to protect it were slain. Those who were not slain stand with us today. And that brings us to the present matter of concern, which is the fate of the lamp itself. Not its past, but its future. And regarding this, I've asked Maglor to speak. Maglor is the captain of the Scouts of the Southern Wild. They are a group of those who can go quietly and quickly on my business. Maglor is trustworthy, and he has gone far into great peril, which perhaps some of you can imagine, in search of this, what he's about to tell us. At this point, Maglor stands, bows a little bit to Radagast and to Ormal, and says, "The lamp of Balthy was not taken to Dol Guldur. At least, not yet. The heavy fall and winter rains have made passage between Dol Guldur and Fenbridge impossible. There's a thick marsh between them, and until recently it has not been passable even by orcs. We have known for some weeks now that the lamp was in Fenbridge Castle, but as long as it is there, there is nothing that the scouts could do. We do not have the strength to assail such a place of fortified strength and have any hope of victory. And we do not trust Lord Mogdred enough to ask for his aid. All of this is changing, though. The spring rains have almost ceased. My guess is 15 or 16 days from now the lamp will be moved. Now, without the light of the lamp, the orcs and spiders have been more bold in their attacks upon the woodmen settlements. So there are also a number of woodmen prisoners which are being held. Folk of Woodman Town, folk of the Tarn, who have been taken by ones and twos, wandering in the wild during the winter hunting for food. They've been taken to Fenbridge. But the power which is in Dol Guldur now is not interested in dead men. It seeks servants, tools which it can twist and bend to its malice, or else please itself by years of endless torment. I expect that the prisoners and the lamp will be moved as soon as the way between Fenbridge and Dol Guldur is passable. If the lamp is to be rescued, we must act now.
How far is it to Fenbridge from here?
Which is definitely something I have in my notes somewhere. Gosh darn it. One sec. It's about 40 miles. 40.
40 through Mirkwood?
We could cross the forest narrows. Radagast pipes up. I could probably get us all there in 4 days if I needed to.
Would it make any sense to lie in wait for them as they leave with it?
Maglor nods. That is what I had in mind. I do not think there is any wisdom in attacking Fenbridge. But it will take them 4 or 5 days to travel between Fenbridge and Dol Guldur. Now, we can attack when they are near to Fenbridge, or when they are near to Dol Guldur, or somewhere in the middle. Each have their own advantages and their own risks.
Can't hear you, Ben.
You're really quiet, Ben.
Nope.
Really quiet.
Boom, how about that?
There we go.
Cool. I think my headphones are dying. So I think I was out when you mentioned who is actually at Fenbridge.
The lamp?
Well, yes, the lamp, but who has the lamp at Fenbridge? Or did we just totally not ask that?
You haven't asked that.
Okay, so who has the lamp? Who is at Fenbridge Castle?
Is Duvaniel asking that?
Yes, Duvaniel's asking that.
Fenbridge is commanded by an orc chief named Maghaz. He's not particularly strong, but he's very cunning. I think
So
that's
we're
as far.
hunting orcs.
I think that is as far as the lamp made it before the rains forced them to keep it there.
And in your searchings, did you by any chance find how the orcs came by it? Did the wolf give it to them for safekeeping? Or they simply have the imminent good fortune to run across it?
He looks at you a little strangely. Did you not see the man in dark armor? The one who slew
Well,
the barding?
yes. So, but such a man as that, why would he bother taking it to Fenbridge Castle when he could simply take it with him to Dumbledore? He is Lieutenant Dumbledore. For some, I sense as a wraith that perhaps poor weather is of little concern to him.
The lamp of Bolthy, Radagast puts in, is quite heavy, as you may remember, Duvaniel. Is not the sort of thing which the lieutenant of Dol Guldur could transport unclad and invisible.
But does he not command an army of orcs who would be more than willing to do this for him?
That's where the weather problems come in.
Oh, but I feel as though perhaps when he came by this lamp, the weather was not quite so fearsome as this. I, I s- I simply wonder what else the the lieutenant of Dumbledore had intended by following this route, as opposed to taking it more directly to his fortress. It seems that such a thing, as one who it, his troops have little trouble traversing the wood en masse, or at least he does not care for their trouble in doing so.
Clearly, you have never traveled in southern Mirkwood, Duvanio. It would have taken several weeks for the theft of the thieves of the lamp at Woodland Hall to reach Fenbridge Castle. By then, the late year rains would have already begun.
Where is Fenbridge on the map?
Fenbridge is like right here.
Okay.
Okay.
So
The lamp was stolen all the way up here.
and Dolgaldir.
Yeah, it's a little over 200 miles from where the lamp was stolen to Fenbridge Castle.
So, do we know? Sorry,
Where was this?
do we know where?
The top one?
It was stolen up here near Woodland Hall. Yeah.
Oh.
Do we know how they found out? How they got access?
Jonathan, you're really quiet.
I'm really close.
Yeah.
Am I louder now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I must be on the webcam. That's weird. So I was just asking, do we know how they knew how they were up there so quickly?
We don't know that actually. That's a good question.
Like so that because that's beyond traveling that distance is beyond someone like communicating with local door and saying, "Oh, hey, come up quick because they have, the lamp is out." They had.
Are
to be
you saying
waiting.
all this in character?
Yes, except more than another way.
Dwarf
Okay.
friend, I think that perhaps Lieutenant of Dumbledore has ways of communicating which do not require footmen, as it were. You yourself have a raven, and we know that his gore crows could easily carry similar messages in
They
similar
had-
time.
They had to be at the right place at the right time, though, for them to intervene and take it from you and us.
Right. Even
They had
because
to
there
know.
wasn't that much time that passed from the time it was stolen until the time that they were overtaken.
There had to be someone telling them about it. That means that there's someone inside either the woodland hole or
I think perhaps you underestimate the hatred which the werewolf bears this light.
you think he can sense its presence and movements.
I would not be surprised. He is not entirely merely of the wood, as it were.
But can they travel through the woods that fast to get all the way from Gopher?
No, they
I
had to be
I
closer.
don't think he was.
That's the point of isn't that what we're talking about? They couldn't.
I am guessing that with the rise of Mokrid, that the Lieutenant of Dumbledore had numerous and sundry other reasons to be in the vicinity of such a gathering.
Radagast, do you agree with that?
Amaleota stirs a little bit, but says nothing.
I'm Leota. Have something to add.
I'm afraid that Duvanil has put a...
That's Emiliota.
No. Now, Amaleota's been on the roids. No, it's Radagast. I'm afraid that Duvanil has put her finger on it, as they say. There are those among us who fear that the new war leader may be in league with Dol Guldur. Maybe not their servant, maybe not yet. But we fear the path that he is leading the woodman down. That is why it is so important that the lamp be recovered. And
Or, I have no doubt in my mind that Mordred is in league with Dumbledore. I spent the winter with my master and an elf of Rivendell, whose journeys to us brought him into direct conflict with Mordred's lieutenant and an agreement they had with the orcs.
And,
Mordred and the orcs are allied. There is no doubt in my mind.
what's the guy's name that's here from? He's like the secret spy guy.
Maglor?
Maglor. Let me write that down.
Scout.
Was not Maglor the man who had proof for us for the council of the destruction of the Old Dwarf Road? Wasn't he the one we had to send a message to, but we couldn't find him?
Maglor smiles a little to hear you refer to him as a man, and in the third person.
He's an elf.
He's an elf. Refer
Okay,
to him as an
well,
elf
what is
all
it?
evening.
I'm writing down elf next to his
Yeah,
name.
yeah, good plan.
Him, Kellogg's, and Devania are the three elves.
Yeah, and Ormal.
And Ormal are the four elves.
Or else I thought. See, that's why I thought that.
Ormal,
Beginning of-
Maglor, and Keloth are the three elves who are here from Thranduil's halls. Duvaniel is also here. I did not name her among the three because she is a player character.
Shall I start again then?
Please do.
All right. Let's see. Before the vote, we had someone who we needed to contact about the Dwarven Road that's being destroyed and taken. The materials are being taken to Dol Guldur. Are you not that elf?
He smiles a little. I see that Warsong here has been telling stories on me.
Warsong's just kind of been listening and watching with wide eyes, one hand on Sigarum's head. He's quiet for one.
Yes.
Take a call out if you want to.
What was that, Narvi?
Sorry, Sigarun could take us all out if he wanted to, except maybe Radagast.
That's right.
That's
Or
what she's
something
counting
that's
on.
snapping.
It's funny you should mention... No, just kidding. It is sort of funny you should mention that. But anyway. Maglor laughs a little, and his laugh is musical. And he says, "Yes, I am the one who brought news to Radagast of the goings on at the Old Dwarf Road. Though without Warsong here, I would never have made it the whole way. I was south looking into something else at the time of the council when all of this happened. The Folkmoot, rather. But I think that the damage which is done is done. The walls and towers of Dol Guldur have been rebuilt. Some of them with new dwarf stone. It will take a greater power than the dwarves now possess to reclaim those heirlooms, I fear."
All right. What do we need to do to move out?
We need to determine 3 things, I think. If the rescue is to be attempted near to Fenbridge Castle, or to near to Dol Guldur, or somewhere in the middle.
You mentioned earlier that there are advantages and disadvantages to each. What are the advantages and disadvantages of each approach?
Do any of you have Mirkwood lore?
I
I
do.
think Warsong might.
Ivaniel has Mirkwood lore.
So, Duvaniel, you would know that just based on the location of Fenbridge and Dol Guldur, that if you were to stage an ambush near to either one of those places, that you would be much closer to the edge of the forest. You wouldn't have to transport the lamp and or prisoners through nearly as much marshland to get out of the woods and into open country.
Okay, that having been said, that being the case, are they more likely to be reinforced?
That is a very real possibility.
Okay. Um,
So can you show us on the map? Like, so we'd have to like attack like somewhere out here to be in the middle. But-
Yeah, so Fenbridge is probably something like right here.
Okay.
Dol Guldur is here. Fenbridge is actually probably more like right here.
okay,
Dol
so
Guldur is here. So the middle would be basically right in along here.
That's not that different.
well, I think the main difference is you're talking about edge of the wood and deep wood, which,
Right.
as Radagast has mentioned, that traveling in southern Mirkwood is no small task.
Well, it seems like maybe we should try to get it before it gets very far.
That's what I'm
Yes.
thinking.
The
We
main
don't
concern is
local beer.
should a goblin runner return to Fenbridge, we may find ourselves with more than just a small collection of, or more than the original, more than we bargained for. A castle.
I suggest we travel down there and look for a good place to ambush them that is closer to Fenbridge, but not right outside their doors, their gates.
I would agree with that.
What do I know about Fenbridge Castle with my Mirkwood lore, or do I know anything about it?
Give me a lore roll.
All right.
I can roll lore too.
Do you have Mirkwood lore?
I do. I also have shadow lore if that helps.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a lore roll.
I also have folklore. if
And
that helps.
woodcrafty, but I think it.
All right.
Ooh, you don't have to roll. You get a great success. You might get.
Ah, I need a massive computer screen. Just for this. Just for this game.
We could always Chromecast it to the TV. Yeah.
What? That's a good idea.
Oh, that's a really good idea.
You have an
The only-
HDMI port.
Problem is, most of the time, your actual issue is like where the mouse is, and that doesn't get solved by the giant screen.
Oh,
That is
that's
true.
I actually
Um,
the screen.
Also, a TV often messes up the sound and makes it hard to use a headset. But, might be.
the Fenbridge Castle, so Dol Guldur itself, the Hill of Sorcery, was once a lovely hill on which the Elven King made his fortress. After he abandoned
Called
it,
Naked Hill.
Amanlank is farther north, but when Amanlank is in the mountains of Mirkwood. But Dol Guldur long ago was the heart of the Elven Kingdom of Mirkwood. It was abandoned and later came to be occupied by the Shadow. It is now surrounded on 3 sides by incredibly foul and one would almost say sorcerous marshes, which are very easy to get lost in and extremely dangerous to travel in, even for orcs. The only way through is on the fourth side. It's across the swamps via the Fenbridge, which is a snaking line of orc-built crossings. It's not really a bridge. It is a snaking line of orc-built crossings that run from hillock to hillock. And the only way onto the Fenbridge is through Fenbridge Castle, which is
Okay.
you've never seen it, Duvaniel, but you've heard it described or read about it as less of a fortress. It started as sort of a mere gatehouse, but over the centuries, it's become sort of this unplanned, sprawling fortification of towers and bastions that have been added on over the years. Long ago, Fenbridge supplied both food and manpower or orc power to Dol Guldur. It is now that Dol Guldur has been reoccupied, Fenbridge Castle is commanded by Maghaz, the orc captain, who is in charge of a much reduced garrison, but still a
By much reduced, you mean how many people? How many are we talking?
you do not know.
And go ahead.
So the bridge system.
Mm-hmm.
What was that to get to Dol Guldur?
The Fenbridge. That's what they will be crossing. So
Right.
So we
Would a-
can get to them
I can
before
probably
Fenbridge.
get you. I
Would
can.
a-
I'm trying to figure out. Sorry, you go ahead because I'm still forming my plan.
Well,
Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, so it sounds like we need to get to them before Fenbridge because the only way through Fenbridge is through Fenbridge Castle, right?
But they have it already at Fenbridge.
Give me just a second. I have.
So so we need to meet them after Fenbridge.
Yes, but it's likely that they will take the bridge system, right? And there's no way onto the bridge system except for the bridge system. You have to get in the castle.
Magaluf says, Fenbridge Castle has two gates. One faces northeast, the other southwest. There is a mostly overgrown path that runs up to the northeast gate. The bridge itself, the Fenbridge itself, runs out from the southern gate. Where it starts, the bridge is a causeway supported by ancient stone pillars dug deep into the mire. Later on, the path drops down into the swamp, and it becomes hard to tell stone from sucking mud. That is where they will be most vulnerable to ambush. However, that is also where it will be most difficult for us to extract ourselves should things go poorly. We can, perhaps, make our way through the marsh and find the Fenbridge without passing through the castle.
Would it be possible to take a flat-bottom boat or a caracal or something of that nature across the marsh?
From the little that I have explored it, the marshes around the Hill of Sorcery are far too treacherous for boats.
But if we aren't expecting them to move for 2 weeks and we can get there in 4 days, that gives us a fair amount of time to set the ambush to get there.
It also gives us a fair amount of time to be sighted by the
If we go through these places that are surely manned by orcs and their people, I can get us through if we don't look like us. I can get us through if we are disguised.
Disguised as what?
Disguised how?
Well, I think that you and I, Warsaw, will be fine, but the dwarves and the elves stand out a bit too much. If they were perhaps disguised as our prisoners.
You want
No.
to be our prisoner?
No, they
no.
wouldn't really be our prisoners. They just have to look like they are.
Oh, Leary, what are you going on about?
I
As no one would believe that I could be your prisoner.
That's perhaps fair. But how on earth would she know that she can do this?
What is it that you can do?
I can.
It's a special ability thing.
It's a special ability. When orcs come across me, they don't necessarily get suspicious.
That is not the same thing as them letting you in at the gate.
No, I'm not. I'm not suggesting that. I'm not suggesting walking through the gates. I'm just suggesting walking around the place. We might not be like setting off alarms.
I see. Now I'm suddenly realizing that Illyria is more orcish than dwarfish.
Yep. Amra,
Wait, you're just now realizing
I
that?
don't think there are any half-orcs in this setting. Well, there are, but they're not pleasant.
But yeah.
No, she's not a half orc.
Let's see. Is this a Dunlanding special ability?
Mm-hmm. It's on my character sheet. I copied and pasted it.
It's all right.
Grim of aspect.
Yeah.
If you approach servants of the shadow before an armed confrontation becomes inevitable, you may interact with them using normal rules for encounters, so long as you keep the elves and dwarves in your company out of sight or bound as prisoners. Most orcs, bandits, and other foul folk will not attack without cause.
Interacting with them using the normal rules for encounters is the key thing there. That is not the same as that's not the same as like they'll just let you in at the door. You still got to convince them that you have a really good reason for being here.
Well, I
Sure.
think the goal is not getting inside, but just not having orc runners run off and say
That.
we've got elves and dwarves
That.
walking
But
around.
to get to the bridges,
We
we
can
have
just
to
be
go
normal
inside.
people, or orcs, I guess.
Is there a
Right.
reason we could not perhaps destroy the bridges behind them
That was my thought too.
after perhaps they've crossed the bridges, then we can come in behind them and destroy the bridges so they can't send runners and then attack?
Do you have a team of sappers and several days?
How are the bridges wood, I assume?
Well, for the first several leagues, they are stone.
Wow.
Could be a problem. Okay.
But we do have many days before we get there. We could get there and
True,
then
and we
sabotage the bridges in preparation for them.
We do have the road warden himself among us.
It's true.
Richard, can I roll a battle roll? Help us at all here?
Yeah.
Not that one.
Harvey scratches his head, thinking if the road warden, he should come up with something good to say. We'll figure it out.
Can Warsong roll?
Sure. Give me a battle roll.
What?
Oh, why is she weary?
Yeah, I shouldn't be weary, but I wouldn't have made it anyway. But what's my I make it if I spend a point of hope.
I don't know if that's going to give us enough information to actually
Yeah.
be worth burning a point of hope.
Especially when I don't have any contributing hope to this.
Oh wait, no, I can spend
Oh, that's right.
courage. I get courage now. I'm spending a point of courage. So I'm my battle roll. I'm trying to figure out a.
Warsong, you're not quite skilled enough in the fine art of sabotaging bridges. Hogan's heroing it, we call it, to really have insight into how practical that would be, especially having not seen the bridge yourself. However, your immensely practical mind, which is used to planning hunts and ambushes in the wood and that sort of thing. I remember you did ambush those goblins that one time.
We did.
It occurs to you that perhaps if you were able to provide a sufficient distraction to draw off reinforcements before you attacked the convoy carrying the lamp, that might give you the time that you need.
To do the time that you need?
That feels extraordinarily risky.
We wouldn't need to destroy the bridge. We'd just create a distraction so they go to the wrong place.
What kind of
Yeah.
distraction?
So there are reinforcements that will come, but they won't come to us and they won't come to the lamp. They'll go to where they think the problem is, which isn't where we are.
You
It,
said
it, it will probably be where somebody has to be, though.
Yeah.
They are not so dim-witted as to follow no trail.
Well, we would have to think of a distraction.
Maglor,
I mean, someone could create a distraction and then a distraction is far enough away that by the time they get there, that person has left.
Maglor looks at Radagast. The scouts do not possess sufficient forces to take Fenbridge Castle, but we might be able to make somebody think that we were trying.
Is that really more beneficial than your presence with us at the ambush itself? That seems like splitting our resources.
The more people that go to the ambush, the greater our chance of being spotted. Our strength is in speed and in cunning, I think, not in numbers. Though certainly numbers help.
And are you not cunning and speedy? Are your people not known for that? Your specific group of elves?
Perhaps.
Huh.
But I think that if Radagast the Brand did not think you were all fit for the job, or that this task did not fall to you for various reasons, he would not have called you here. I am ready to do my part, as are those who follow me.
I fear many will fall in that plan. It's not...
At this point, Amos Winter stands up and begins pacing. Well then, I'm all ears to hear a better. Your plan, and she pointed at you, Larry, your plan is to tie all the elves up and, carry them to Fenbridge Castle.
No, just make it look like they're prisoners. They don't actually have to be bound. I'm just saying, if we are walking through orc-infested woods, it would be best not to look like what we are.
And his plan is that they attack Fenbridge Castle, which is not something anyone has done successfully in a very long time. What about you, Elf? You're the one that started all this trouble, from what I've heard.
You're not wrong. If it were up to me, I think that a well-laid ambush um, where we hold the ground is to my liking, and that we leave none alive and suffer none to escape. Um, do this out from its reasonable distance from the castles, but not so far from the edge of the wood that we are trapped for days hauling this great lamp through the forest and potentially attracting further attention. If the elven scouts could perhaps cover our rear and prevent any of the orcs from escaping back to Fenbridge, that could serve and perhaps prevent them from us from, as the little dark one has mentioned, from us from having to attack the castle, which I think is probably as as you mentioned a fool's errand.
I
That
I agree with the elf. If we do 2 ambushes instead of one to, that they run into, and the other one on the other side that they run back towards, that should catch them all.
and if not, I say we move as swiftly as possible. We strike as the kingfisher, in, snatch, and out so quickly that should they be on our heels, we'll be far from them, and be back among the woodmen and our allies before they can capture us.
Ameliota rubs her jaw thoughtfully. And what says the road warden to all this?
Harvey, who has kind of sat silent, kind of looks at everyone and says, well, I think that every moment we sit here, they're getting farther and farther away. Whether we ambush in one place or we ambush in two, we have to find them. We have to save the land. There's no good plan here.
This is not a hasty. This is not haste that
You're
we need right
wrong.
now.
This is haste that we need.
We do know where the lamp is right now. It's
The
not.
farther away they get, the
I don't think the
They're
lamp
not
is moving
going
at the
farther
moment.
away, Narvi. They are at the Fenbridge Castle.
It will be 2 weeks before the roads are clear enough for them to move.
We know where they are and where they will be.
we need to get down there and
In 4 days,
study the terrain and find our best plan of
that's true.
action. We can't plan a battle from from up here. We have to see the area, and from then we can form a plan. We can say we're going to ambush them, but we might get there and there's no good spot to ambush them. We have to go down there and look and find one. We don't know the terrain well enough. So I say we go.
We go with our plan and then make it more solid when we get there.
Yes.
Which plan is that?
The
Exactly.
ambush plan.
How many ambushes? 2.
The only elf who has been silent up till now says, you seem very sure that they will be the ones doing the running in that plan.
Do we?
You can't plan on running, can you?
Well, what you're saying is that we ambush them from one side, then we have another ambush set up so that they can't escape. Why are they going to try to escape? I really doubt that we'll have the advantage when it comes to numbers here.
I think my only concern as far as the escape goes is that they return to Fenbridge and bring reinforcements.
Aye.
I don't think that your judgment is reliable.
It's not a
Not-
question of judgment in this case. That's what they would do. They would send someone to the Fenbridge Castle, which is not far away, for more people to protect this very valuable lamp.
Then we don't give them a chance to escape, but they probably aren't going to try.
So what do you suggest, Narvi?
I suggest that we kill them all and take the land.
That is the plan.
I
And
feel
why are we
perhaps
still here?
perhaps the dwarf is a bit distracted, perhaps. Amras did mention that there is a lady dwarf.
Ivaniel, do not speak of Amras.
Duvaniel raises her chin slightly and gives Narvi an arch expression.
Narvi glares until she turns to stone.
Ben, give me a corruption attack. No, I'm kidding.
But the staff of the road one can turn people to stone. We just haven't used it.
Yeah, Jonathan and I have, he's had that power ever since the campaign started. Not his character, just Jonathan. All right. So.
You can
Radek-
only up your skills in a fellowship phase, right?
Right.
What else did you want to do with your skills?
You can only up them? What?
Oh, during the fellowship phase, right. Okay. I thought you meant like you wanted to like increase them.
Radagast takes a long puff at his pipe. So have we made a decision then?
I think despite our attempts at disagreement, I think we have.
One ambush?
We can always
think-
ambush.
I
from
think
two
if we
sides
have, if
with one
Maglor's
ambush,
scouts
that
are
would
at our
accomplish the same
disposal,
thing.
I think if Maglor's scouts are at our disposal, then we have options along that line.
We can travel. Let's travel together quietly and see what's down there and choose based on the terrain, in other words, let's not send the scouts to Fenbridge to create a distraction. Aye?
Agreed.
All right.
Maglor looks at Radagast. Is this your will then?
Do you disagree, Radagast? Is this a bad plan? You are a wizard. We will take your advice to heart.
That is funny. I thought I was a messenger service.
I mean, one can be more than one thing at a time.
So
Say that to the wizard.
Yes, but we have an understanding.
I think that it is as good a plan as any, and I will do what I can.
I have seen what you can do. It's good. These are not spiders, but it should probably help.
Very well then. Everyone make your preparations. We have a few days. If there's anything anyone wants to do to get ready. Maglor sighs a little. I will call in what scouts I can. Short notice. And what about you, brother? Keloth nods. I have my own score to settle with the Orcs of Dol Guldur. Alright, so, is there anything any of you would like to do? How long are y'all taking at the Black Tarn before you head out?
We could. I don't know. I don't have anything I need to do there, so it's up to the others.
I think Duvanio came ready to march.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the main thing is not showing up too early and not showing up too late.
Right. I mean, you know it's going to be
Um,
something like 2 weeks before the lamp is actually moved.
So
Right.
it's 40 it's 40 miles as the crow flies.
To Fenbridge Castle, thereabouts.
Okay. Well, while we're waiting, we're going to call upon Corbin and see if he can go.
Sorry. It is 40 miles across the narrows of the forest. So that's this bit right here. Basically right to here. It's like 40 miles.
So it's more like 200 miles.
From there, you have another 50 miles of deep forest.
That's a big difference.
Yes. Well,
There's 100.
you guys have the map in front of you. But yes. It's been a long day.
Sorry, I thought.
Yeah.
40,
So it's across to Fenbridge. It's probably more like it's actually probably about 14 days.
So I think we should keep going.
We must go then.
You have about a day or two of leeway.
I thought that was.
That's
I
what we
thought
want.
He just said that he could get us there in 4 days.
Yes, he did. He was mistaken.
Yes, he was mistaken. He was
Okay.
mistaken because I was not reading the notes that I wrote this afternoon. So anyway, yeah. So sorry, you have essentially probably a day or two of leeway if there's anything you wish to do preparation wise. If you want extra time to scout out the terrain when you get there, you need to leave now.
Yeah, we're leaving now then.
Let's
Is
go
it-
then.
Right now?
Like the
Mark
next morning,
was
probably.
right. We should
Or is
go
it-
ahead and leave.
I don't think anybody's disagreeing with you, dwarf.
Did I say that out loud?
Your internal monologue has a really annoying voice. All right, so
Hey, that's my voice.
At least it's not your other dwarf's voice, which that's bad. That's terrifying.
all right, so without further ado, the next morning, on the 6th of Astron, you begin your march south. The party is made up of the four of you, Rani, Amaswinta, and Keloth.
And the scouts, where are they?
Maglor has gone to muster them. They are, generally speaking, spread out unless they need to be gathered together into one place for something in particular. So we will see how many are able to show up.
A whole lot of squirrels just left.
Yes. All right. So you begin your journey across the narrows of the forest, which is kind of this wide open scrubland. And it's not wide open scrubland, but it's more open than some of the other parts of Mirkwood that you've traveled through. And I'm going to go ahead and need everybody to give me their first fatigue test.
Have we assigned
Rolls.
assigned roles? Do we need to do that before we actually roll?
Probably best. Yeah.
Okay.
Um.
Warsong's good in explore. What is that?
Scout.
So
They're written here on the thing, but yeah, Scout, which is actually what she's on right now.
okay, cool.
So what's on the scout? I can be either the travel one or the hunting one.
Oh yeah, she's also good in travel.
I think I'm usually the hunter.
I'm the hunter. That's like the only one I have really good in. Or I have a 3 in it.
Okay.
So Narvi travel.
I can be the travel guy.
That seems
Logical.
in character.
Yeah. I think the only reason I haven't been in the past is that
Something else had it.
everyone else has high travel also.
So who is Duvaniel?
We just lost him.
Well, it's a good thing he's not the guide. Alright, so you said you need travel rolls?
I do.
Just one? How many?
One at TN16.
Well, that should be.
Man, the rolls are not great. I'm gonna spend a point of courage, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Great success. Does that mean
Nice.
you gain a point of hope?
It does not. Nice try. All right.
Duvaniel, are you the do you have
I
a
can
good
look at it.
awareness?
I've got 2 in that. That's about the highest skill I've gotten. Just about any everything.
Okay.
All right, Duvaniel, I need a travel roll from you, please.
All right. Yes. For some reason, my it said boot me out. So give me a second here to pull my character sheet back up.
So the Narrows themselves, the Narrows of the Forest, are very little different from the other areas of Mirkwood, but the shadow lies heavier here than in some other places. The terrain is relatively flat and free of obstacles. The trees don't grow quite so thickly together as to block the way, and occasionally you hit upon something that you think is an old elf trail. If it were not for the nearby influence of Dol Guldur, the Narrows of the Forest would probably be the easiest way to cross Mirkwood. Now, as you start moving farther south, you can hear the howling of wolves in the hills, both to the east and to the west. The part of the Narrows that you pass through as you head south from the tarn towards Fenbridge Castle are thick with with millions of buzzing, huge, blood-sucking flies. Large clouds of them rise up in over the few occasional gaps that you're now starting to see through the trees. As this part of the forest is a bit thinner. During the heat of the day, those gaps are completely obscured by dark clouds, which from a distance appear to be mist, but as you get closer, you realize are these swarms of blood-sucking flies, which are just blotting out the sun. And as you pass underneath them, they swarm over you. It's extremely unpleasant. All of those of you who failed your travel test gain 3 fatigue.
Yay!
Bit a bunch.
Warsong's like kind of tied a little bandana around Sigaroon's head to protect
Yeah,
his ears.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
good
the
thinking.
Rambo dog. Yes.
She's also told Narvi an awful lot about him. She's always walking right next to Narvi.
At this point in time, and throughout the journey, Radagast is quiet. for the most part, using his arts as he did when you went in quest of a way to heal the River Maiden, to make the journey shorter and less dangerous. And so as Radagast sort of walks through these thick clouds of buzzing flies, they sort of buzz around him, but they do not land on him. And sort of following him through these huge clouds of insects, you're able to make your way down through the narrows of the forest and into southern Mirkwood. At this point, Radagast says, "We're coming very near now to Amon-Boglir, Torrance Hill. If what we suspect of its master is even somewhat true, we will need to be as quiet as possible until we are past his borders. There are many scouts and many patrols he has through these regions. And I'm going to need everyone to give me a stealth check."
And
Good.
now would be a good time for you to all, pretend you're not. Well, you're not going to do it, are you?
I will not be your.
Keloth raises an
Captain.
eyebrow.
It's not. Oh, fine.
What's our TN for this? 16?
14.
What the heck? Hello, Elf Dice, my old friend.
Can you add
Yeah.
10 to that somehow?
No. Well, there you go. Look at the Woodman holds.
You should really, put a cord around your hands. It's not that much of a.
Hey, great success. We'll cover that.
That's
Yeah,
true.
Can you just let me just? It's just like this.
Illyri ties herself up.
No, I don't.
All right.
I don't think they're going to go for that, Illyria.
Narvi, did you give me a stealth roll?
No. I was looking to see if I had anything. If I'm traveling alone, I can only be spotted by an extraordinary success. So, thanks everybody for perceiving.
Do you have your staff stats?
It's only applicable if I'm traveling alone.
Okay.
I was just checking that. I'm not very high at stealth.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
The dwarf breathed so loudly. We could have
We
shot
could've
him
shot
in the
him.
dark.
He was walking through the big cloud of flies, and he breathed one into his nose and sneezed it out. But not a normal sneeze. A giant, dwarf has a fly in his
He got one of
nose.
those flies up his nose.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what he said.
Yep. I'm trying to find my stuff on your staff because I thought I remembered it doing more things than that.
Well, dwarven spells of secrecy are less likely to be noticed, but that's a different thing. I can only be spotted by an extraordinary success when traveling alone with the staff. It gives me a plus bonus to travel, plus 2 if it's on Golden Road.
There.
That's all I have on it.
Narv could have met us there with his staff. Just kind of gone by.
Well, I thought about that, but
Well,
then
Narvi,
it wouldn't be-
Narvi, your staff, if you spend a point of hope, you can get a magical, because it's got the runes of secrecy on it. If you spend a point of hope, you can get a magical result on your stealth roll.
Does that
Which
raise the hunt thing?
it does raise the hunt thing.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise we get noticed by what? Who knows?
Let me just let's see here.
What are we stealthing from again? Orcs?
Stealthing is not a verb. You die.
Cool.
Say what?
A magical result. Let's see here. So you can your staff is a wondrous item, so you add your wisdom to all rolls made using stealth. But also, you let's see here.
So that gets me up to 5.
Sorry, let me, because this could be important. Let me just see if I can find. I thought I had the exact text for your staff in my notes, but it's incomplete. So let me find what I sent you.
I can't seem to find it either.
See. Oh, probably. I bet I put it in this chat. In which case, we'll never find it. Okay. All right. Well, we're just gonna go with what we have then. All right. You do your best to make your way quickly and quietly through the lands occupied by Tyrant's Hill. And as far as you know, your passage goes unmarked.
My favorite phrase.
As far as you know.
Yes. Let me think of this.
Does my great success cover anybody?
It covers one.
So pick whose fault you want it to be if we get trashed.
You don't want me to do that. Wait. Can I use my elusive feature to boost it up one?
That is not how traits work.
But could I?
Sadly, no. But as far as you know,
Everything's fine.
everything is fine.
No one heard me sneeze.
But
How do trades work?
she asks 2.5 years into the
60 years.
campaign.
Yeah, 60 on episode
You invoke
66.
them.
68.
Every time I've tried to use traits, it hasn't worked. So yeah,
You can
it's
use
not fine.
traits. You can use traits for two things. You can use traits to invoke a trait and make a roll where otherwise, like if I'm narrating and you're like, but I have this trait, so I want to roll this thing, then I'd be like, oh, okay, you have that. So a good example is like Mirkwood lore. You're right, Ben?
Oh, sorry, I have a lime.
Apparently.
Sorry.
Also, you're 6. That was amazing. A trait is so a good example is Mirkwood lore. When Ben was like, "Well, could I make a roll to see what I know about
But that's a
Fenbridge?"
specialty. Wait, distinctive feature.
Distinctive features and specialties are both traits. They're
right.
both under the traits section on your character sheet.
Yep.
Yep. So you can invoke it for that. You can also use a trait to take an automatic ordinary success on something that's applicable. The third thing that you can use a trait for is to take advancement points for something which you've already taken a skill category you've already done advancement points for. This
Okay.
adventuring phase. So those are the things traits can be used for. Traits unfortunately cannot be used to like just bump rolls up. That is what hope is for, and special abilities that let you spend hope to do that. So,
Can I use a point of hope to bump mine up one?
do you have a special ability that allows you to increase the success rating of your stealth when you spend a point of hope?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, there is stuff like that, but I don't think Illyri has it. So, all right, and so you pass warily through the woods around Tyrant's Hill, as far as you know, unnoticed by the servants of the war leader of the Woodmen, your good friend and ally, Mogdred. Hashtag make Mirkwood great again. And
Ah,
and and you, at this point, you are now through the narrows of the forest and very much into southern Mirkwood. Darkness has dwelt for too long in southern Mirkwood. The whole forest carries the taint of the shadow. Black firs grow tangled and twisted, their branches laden down with strands of heavy white moss and ivy. The murk, if you will, is darker here, so that even on the brightest days, no light penetrates the leaves and the fogs which rise up from the south. The ground underfoot might be, from one moment to the next, a sucking bog, impassable, broken stone, or choked in thorns. Many of the trees around you are dead and strangled by the poisons that leach into the soil. Outside of the land of shadow itself, there is no place under the sun where the enemy holds more power. The terrain is mostly flat, except for a low ridge of hills that run from east to west, rising to the southwest of Dol Guldur. A few streams run down these elevations, and their waters trickle off into the south, and a few of you would know that they perish in a wide waste now known as the Brown Lands. The hill upon which Dol Guldur stands rises in the midst of a vast marshland in which you now find yourselves. Once it was a small expanse of still waters that the elves made more pleasant by building bridges that arched gracefully above the swamp. But now the bog spreads for many miles, and the servants of the necromancer tore all the bridges down to replace them with crude stone walkways covered in moss and slime. The orcs have left their mark upon the woods as well. Parts of the forest have been cut down wholesale for firewood and timber, and these despoiled clearings are scattered through the middle part of southern Mirkwood. Now and then you come across one of these clearings, still dark and murky because of the heavy fogs, but open, burnt, scattered, trees cut down, senselessly hacked and left, offal and excrement, bones of things that you'd rather not think about, left strewn about. But worst of all are the mists. The woodmen call them the reeks or the glooms. They are thick fog clouds that cloak the forest in an impenetrable darkness. They spring up everywhere without warning or reason. But some say, and you have heard, that all mists in southern Mirkwood flow from Dol Guldur itself. Under the fog, all things look more sinister and menacing. Branches of trees reach out, bare of leaves, like skeletal fingers, to brush you as you walk past. It becomes difficult to tell north from south, east from west, sometimes even up from down. Now and then, you find a skeleton in the fog. A man, an orc, even once an elf. Travelers driven mad, driven into lost madness by the fog, broken at the foot of the trees that they climbed in a desperate attempt to escape. I will need everyone to go ahead and give me a
Corruption test.
fatigue test
Oh, okay.
at TN 18.
Oh, good.
Ah, and you're the
Spending a
scout.
point of hope to make that, or a point of courage, rather, I guess.
Cool. Still a hazard.
If
Nice.
it's still a hazard, so you
Nice.
might not use the
Well,
point.
she doesn't want the fatigue.
How much fatigue is it?
3.
No. Who else? Alright.
Alright.
If it triggers a hazard anyway, I won't spend it.
Alright. Huntsman. So you're the scout. All right. Those of you who failed your test are weighed down with the darkness and the sorrow of Southern Mirkwood. And, oh gosh, that's like all of you, except for Narvi. You gain 2 fatigue, not 3. However, as it comes time to camp on about the 6th day since you entered Southern Mirkwood, it's now about 10 days into your journey total. You all sit down to camp. Radagast there with you. Amaswinta gets a fire going. Kaloth takes up a post on the outside of the camp. And you, Warsong, as the scout, head out on your own. Wander down the old path which you think that you found as you try to get the lay of the land for the next day's journey. And as you wander, the sliver of moonlight, which seemed to be lighting your path, suddenly winks out. And in the darkness, you hear a fell voice on the wind. Give me a explore test.
Alright.
Dying kobold, it's okay.
It's actually a greater northern kobold.
TN?
This will be at a TN 18.
I will spend a point of courage on that.
Cool. Okay.
Maybe the great success. Can I mark it down?
You may. You are able to find your way back to the camp before whatever this creature is gets to you, and rushing into the middle of the camp, you like at this point you realize that the campsite the place that you were camping is no longer safe. You need to find somewhere else to sleep.
We need quickly.
Okay. We get up and move.
With your great success, you're able to lead the party away through the darkness for about an hour until you come to another place. And after posting a watch, you make camp for the night. The next day, the journey continues. As the sun is shining brightly in happier lands, you are going on and on, always on and on, with only very brief halts. And the halts you make at this point are not even so much for weariness as they are so that your guides can find their way. For at this point, you have come into the very midst of the marshes of Mirkwood, and it is dark. You walk slowly, stooping beneath the trees which seem to be looming and leaning over you, trying to grab you as you pass, following very attentively every single move that your guide makes. The marsh grows more wet, now and then opening into a wide, stagnant mere, among which grow firmer places where... and it grows more and more difficult to find firm places where you can tread without sinking deep into the gurgling mud. And all of a sudden, the air around you grows dark, darker than you had ever thought would be possible. I need everybody to give me one more fatigue test, T and 18.
Rolling for crits. Not hitting no crits.
Good grief.
How? So close.
I'm gonna use a point of. No. Yeah, I didn't use that for this.
You do have 4 points in your... Oh, wait, no, you don't. You have 3 points in your fellowship pool?
Or was I the only one who couldn't?
I think you're the only one playing with us tonight who could not contribute.
And Warsong is contributing too.
Oh, okay, so you have 4 points in your fellowship pool.
I can actually make it up to that, but do I wanna? I have 5 fatigue now. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna use a courage point. Do I have courage now?
Narvi is present, so yes.
So okay. All right. Then I make it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm using a fellowship.
Do we want to save the group hope?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and use it.
Most of my really cool stuff is fueled by hope, so I mean,
Okay,
Even with
I'll
the few.
take fatigue. Fine, I'll take fatigue.
Okay. I won't
I
spend
mean,
it.
like I said, just save a few for me at least.
What's the fatigue?
All right.
2?
What's that?
Richard, is it 2 fatigue if you don't make it?
Yes.
All right.
Up ahead of you, you can see in the distance, rising up out of the darkness like a pale sliver of cold, cheerless light, the moss-covered white stone of Dol Guldur, the Hill of Sorcery. Nearer to you now, just ahead in the murk, you can make out the moss-stained walls of Fenbridge Castle. The castle itself looks completely sprawling, almost as though it was built on the remnants of itself, that when a tower or a wall sinks into the mud, the orcs build slipshod a new work on top of the sunken ruins of the old. And as you come within the range of Fenbridge Castle, you can hear cruel voices, shouts in the air, as gore crows wheel high overhead, and in the distance, orc sentries issue challenge to those moving along the Fenbridge. I'm going to need one more stealth roll from everyone
Oh, good.
to avoid notice by any potential orc patrols.
Can I claim elusive?
Sure.
Should I do that, or should I roll and try to get a better?
If you have something, use it.
I would say, yeah.
What's the team?
Oh,
Grief.
Well, we're scene anyway. So, doesn't matter what the team is.
oh.
That's the
What the
downside of
heck?
being an ambush.
TN14 for these. All right, so what everybody get?
Uh,
Got a
well,
9.
Some got an eye.
Okay, this bodes well for y'all's ambush planning
yeah,
ideas.
I can tell that right now.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, who wants a pitch battle?
Richard does.
Let's do it.
Um,
4-1 castle.
I don't suppose Warsong can get 10 up.
Nope.
And,
Everyone else failed, so.
um, do you have a 4 in wits, Ben?
In wit? In what?
Wits.
The attribute.
Like, can you get up to 14?
Yes, but I also have 5 shadow and I have 7 hope. So basically, that leaves me 0 wiggle room if I actually need to do something. So I don't know.
Have you used courage at all?
I have not used any. How much courage do I actually have?
What is your heart?
What's your heart?
My heart is 4.
So you have 4.
Unless. Okay.
The disparity between Narvi's XP and Duvaniel's XP is so enormous that I'm pretty sure he's at max.
Okay. So
Alright.
you
Yeah.
could use a point of courage for that, and that's a great
Yeah.
success that covers one other person.
Yeah, let's do that then.
Okay. So that's
I'm gonna spend that one.
all right. So that's gonna cover one other whiff.
Warsong, I guess, right? Narvi, can you get up 5? Do you have a 5 in wits?
Nope.
I don't know how much of a difference it makes between 1 and 2, but I
I mean, if we're rolling for stealth,
Or-
if we're traveling as a group, if we're seen, we're seen. There's no point in wasting hope on that. If one person sneezes, the whole group is seen.
You are as quiet as your loudest member.
Right.
all right, then he's right,
Okay.
I guess. Then don't use that point of courage.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, we don't have. It's not gonna make a difference. Okay. All
We're
right.
not
So-
all 3 going to get up there anyway.
Let's wreck it.
As we march along, we're seeing Diggy the hole. Diggy, diggy, hole.
Speaking of singing, maybe we are actually singing.
Right.
We have all these songs.
Do we have a song for stealth?
We are stealthy. We are quiet. No one can hear us.
Are we? Is this our last roll and we're actually there? Do we have a chance to sing a song? Because I did mean to do that earlier and I didn't do it.
I mean, you can sing a song now, but I mean, I guess you sort of blown your cover anyway.
Yeah.
No, like, is there going to be another night? Or
What's that?
is there going to be another night? Or
I mean, you guys can take as much time as you want. You are at Fenbridge Castle now. It has taken you 14 days to get here.
Whew, okay.
All right, so
I know we're here. Because you guys
Maybe.
are not quiet at all.
and as you say those words, you guys are not quiet at all. You hear a grunt, and a black feathered arrow whistles through the air.
And then he catches it. He looks at it.
pretty sure you don't want to catch an arrow.
Hmm?
I'm pretty
Oh,
sure you
yay!
don't catch arrows.
Combat map.
So,
Oh my goodness.
yeah,
Pretty sure this is what happens when you roll an eye on your stealth.
yeah, this is good times. Oh, I have bigger groups, but anyway,
I do not like
all right,
Welcome to Fenbridge Castle, everybody.
yeah. So, Illyri, a black feathered arrow comes streaking towards you. Are those the stances you guys want to be in?
Sure.
I think so for now, since I want to be opening volley.
Yeah.
Can I move back for opening volley?
You can.
It's assumed you're in rearward for opening volley anyway.
Right, right. But moving it there keeps the numbers calculating.
Oh.
All right. Is opening volley time, and they're going first because you guys were loud.
Okay, okay.
All right. So this one is coming for Illyri. Just misses. This guy
Who's it called? Oh, it wasn't called.
is going to aim at Amiswinta and misses. And this last guy is going to aim at Nervy and misses. Okay. A number of black shafted arrows come whistling into your midst as you quickly scatter. Keloth, without so much as a sound, drops to the back of the group, immediately releases 2 arrows into the... Actually, yeah, no, 2 arrows because he's got the elf bow. Into the darkness, and he's going to fire at this guy. Miss, and then he's going to fire at the same guy again. Gosh,
Aw.
darn it. Okay. He'll miss with both of those, and that is his opening volley. Anybody else?
Yep.
Yeah.
I can only do 1 shot, but I am going to. Devaniel pulls her bow back and target one of these archers.
What's the? Oh, there's no modifier.
Oh, yeah.
A hit.
Warsong is also aiming for one of the archers.
All right, so to start off with Duvaniel, you fire and hit this guy for you hear a yelp of a goblin voice somewhere in the trees as your arrow hits its mark. Warsong, your arrow whistles into the trees, barely missing one of them right by its ear. And
Aw.
Illyri, you loose your bow to no effect as well. At this point, the goblins begin to close in.
Don't we have 2 volleys?
They were too close for that. You guys were
We
surprised.
got ambushed.
Yeah, you guys got
Yeah.
ambushed. So you only got the
Well,
one
be
opening
careful,
volley.
They might have another ambush behind us.
Yes, yeah, for when you run. Okay. Forward stance. Illyri and Narvi, you were up first.
Okay. Spear. And I guess. Can we attack any of these guys?
You can't get at the archers from where you are, but these basically as soon as the archers fire, nice. As soon as the archers fire, a number of orcs with bent swords, spears, shields slung over their backs run into the clearing, attacking you. You hear one of them cry out. Well, you don't actually understand anything that they say, but anyway, just loud, guttural, angry ejaculations, lots of spitting and phlegm, that sort of thing. All right, so which one were you targeting?
The topmost one there.
All right, that will be as one of them runs towards you, Illyri. You raise his arm with your spear as you thrust it out, and he doesn't manage to bring his shield up in time. Narvi,
Yeah.
you are up.
Alright, I'm going to attack against the same one. So here, we will attacking Bill.
Can't really hear you, but okay.
Yep. Go and roll.
What's that?
Hey, how come we can't see the little bars anymore?
Nice.
All right. As Aliri grazes the arm of this goblin, Narvi wades up and, swinging his mattock around, punches right through its light armor into its sternum, and it staggers back dead. All right, that brings us to the open stance, which
No,
is...
I'm in forward.
Oh, sorry. That brings us to the forward stance.
So Warsong is like, she's got her dog,
Uh-huh.
and she's going to run up to one of the orcs and try to scare them.
All right.
Are you going to do it that one way?
No. Because then she'd end up blushing and it would.
I can keep hoping.
But I get to roll the feet die second time and take the higher one. Wait, that doesn't work. Oh, for real?
Well, which one do you want to take?
I'll take the lower one.
Okay.
One that isn't an eye.
Well, as it happens, the difficulty is against their 10 plus the highest attribute level of the enemy present. So your TN is 13, so you're only 2 away.
Courage on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So how many points? That's a great success is 2. No, wait, sorry. Great success is 2, right? You drain 2 points of hate?
It's not in the book. It's not in the Adventurer's Companion, so I'm not sure.
Well, that's what I have written on the handy little combat cheat sheet that we use, so that's what we're going to go with. So that's 2 hate points. Who would you like to drain them from? I mean, I think I actually get to choose, but and in this case, it doesn't really matter because they all
are the same.
Yeah, so this will be interesting. As you intimidate,
Can I mark them off on my sheet?
Sure. So as you step forward and you bellow out your war cry and raise your axe above your head, 2 of the orcs in front kind of turn and look at each other. And they turn around and they start running back towards Fenbridge Castle.
Crap.
No.
Crap.
That's how that works.
That is how that works. How else should that work? Okay, we're open stance now. Amiswinta draws her long-hafted axe and with a cry of "For the Black Tarn!" swings it at one of the orcs.
Cool.
And gosh darn it, just misses.
She could use a point of hope and make it, and it'd be a great success.
She could. Were she a player character, she probably would do that.
She can use a point of group hope. Here, have it. Take it.
And we'll say that Ranny thrusts with her great spear. And also misses. Cool. Just rolling crap tonight. All right, and that takes us to the rearward stance with just Keloth and Duvaniel. Keloth is going to turn with his keen bow. He's going to attempt to shoot down one of the fleeing orcs before they can go for help. And he'll hit for 5 damage, which is not quite enough. All right, Duvaniel.
Okay. Can I light an arrow and then fire it?
Lighting an arrow, do you have a source of fire, like currently lit?
No.
Do you want to stop and try to make a fire in the middle of a super wet marsh?
No.
So probably not then.
Damn it. Okay. All right then.
Same one as Killa.
Yeah, I'm going to fire after them as well.
Okay. Well, that handily. Are you shooting the one that Kelos shot, or are you shooting the other one?
I'm shooting this one, so I'm not sure if that's when he shot or
That
not.
is the one that Kelos shot. All right. That one, as Kelos' arrow knifes through the mist and hits that orc in the back of its calf, it kind of stumbles, and as it pitches forward into the mud, your arrow catches it in the back of the skull, base of the neck, and kills it.
One for me, wee dark one.
We're up to the orcs now. The three ones with bows are going to release shots at the ones in the forward stance. This is for Illyri. Gosh, just what is going on with my dice tonight?
I'm okay with this.
This one's for Narvi. Narvi!
Fuck.
Oh,
666, baby. Narvi, you take a paltry 8 damage.
uh-huh.
One of the arrows works its way underneath your chainmail and just doesn't pierce deeply enough to cause a wound, but it is kind of like on a very flesh wound level, it's tearing tissue. And then these goblins will these orcs will rush forward with their spears and swords. This first one is going to swing a bent sword at you, Warsong. This next one is going to thrust a
Scary is my favorite wits for what it matters.
spear at Illyri. Hey,
Ooh.
Illyri, I'm going to need a protection test from you.
Yeah. Okay.
TN 12.
So my spiral armor reward thing, I don't need to do that unless I fail, right? I don't need to claim it beforehand.
What is it? What
When
does
you
it do?
invoke an attribute bonus on a protection
Right.
test.
It would be attribute bonus on a protection test is if you spend hope.
Okay.
Right.
So I would just roll armor. As soon as I remember where I put it. There it is. 14?
12.
Yes.
All right. Your armor turns the blow, but you are knocked back a bit and take 4 points of damage. And then this last one comes at you, Narvi. I mean, it's not the last one. But it hits you for another 4 points of damage. And see, that was all 4 of these guys. Oh, no, that wasn't all 4 of these guys. This last guy still got an attack. So he's going to swing Illyri as the spear knocks you back a little bit. One of the orcs ducks in under Narvi's mattock and tries to cut your legs out from underneath you.
Ooh. Oh, no. Wait, he did not get his edge. Haha.
He did not get his edge because he was
But it is
using a
crazy.
sword, not a spear. However, you take 7 damage.
Okay.
All right. That is the orc's turn. This guy is fleeing a little bit farther. He's now plus 2 TN to hit. All right. Narvi, Illyri, Warsong.
Can I can't attack the guy that's running because I'm in forward stance, right? That has to be the archers.
Yeah, and she's moving. This is when I'd move stances, right? If I'm moving stances.
Yeah, you have to move at the top of the round,
All right,
which you
then
can do now.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and attack this orc.
Which one are you attacking? Just one of the...
This guy.
Okay.
Are any of them injured?
One of the archers is injured.
It's gonna attack an archer, so. Alright. getting to cook it the right way. Oh yeah.
Well, that guy is super dead.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one that sort of ducked underneath your mattock as he was trying to cut Illyria's legs out from underneath him. And as soon as you see him do that, you sort of redirect the direction of your mattock and bring it down, obliterating his head, much as a sledgehammer would obliterate a watermelon. Right. Illyria, you're up.
Can I throw if I throw a spear, I have to go get it?
Yes, and you've got to be in the rearward stance to do that.
I mean, technically it's top of the line, top of the run, but yeah, okay. I will just do... I'll leave the running guy to the archers. And... spear... this guy...
Nice.
All right,
Yeah.
that hits for 5 damage.
Cool.
The one who hits you with his spear thrust, you kind of push his spear aside as it glances off your armor and bring the butt of your spear around, crack it across his face. All right, open stance, which is all the badass blonde ladies, apparently. That's apparently what's happening there.
Is anyone weary or like because of the damage they took?
Me.
I might be
Probably getting close.
probably.
Okay, well, she's going to intend Brad by singing a war song. I don't have it pulled up though, so I'm just going to roll,
Okay.
which actually is probably fairly risky. Just gonna have feature the thing that Astrid did. That one's like next is Astrid. Where'd it go? 14? Yeah, it's
Nice.
so that worked.
So that is rally comrades. So
Great
everyone,
success. That's
everyone
3
who's
rounds. You ignore the effects of being weary.
oh
For how
nice,
many rounds?
3 rounds.
Cool.
sweet. All right, very good. Rani is going to
Down.
thrust with her spear and miss, because that's what I'm doing today. Amaswinta will swing with
Can
her
she
axe
spend a point of group hope?
and miss. No, because she's not here.
No, you did not miss
Oh,
that.
that doesn't miss. I was expecting. That was actually Amaswinta. I was expecting Amaswinta to miss, but she does not miss. She hits, and in fact, she does 7 points of damage. Yeah, 7 points of damage. She, you watch as Amaswinta cuts deep into the leg of one of the remaining orc soldiers. That takes us to the rearward stance. Kaloth is going to attack. Remember, we have a -2 to hit this guy as he's getting farther away now. He's going to turn and takes aim for a moment, releases it.
Oh, that's not good.
That's not good at all. Do you know, though, I believe that Keloth has... well, he has deadly archery, which is better than magic powers.
Everything I know from Colossal Heroes confirms that.
Yes.
Magic blows there. Just
So bad. Okay, yeah, he's got deadly archery, which I failed to write down here. So let me just pull it up. One sec. All right. Raise attack roll. You receive an additional bonus equal to your basic heart score. Okay. So his basic body is 4. It's favors, so that's 6 plus heart. So he can add 10 to the roll.
Ooh.
So that hits.
Dang.
Yes, a 10 to the roll.
Well, he has to spend a point of hope to do it, but yes. So he will. So he releases an arrow, and it arcs high, almost as though it seems like it's going to miss, and then at the last moment, sort of falls off as it starts to hit the outside of the bow's range and strikes the orc in the shoulder. The orc gives a muted cry of pain as it takes 5 points of damage.
Come on. So when I shoot at the same guy, it's gonna be -2 modifier.
-2 to the roll. Mm-hmm.
Do you have any special powers you can do?
No, unfortunately, all my powers are magical.
I told you, deadly archery is better than magic.
Yes, it is. Okay, here we go. Booyah!
Yes!
But crits are even better. As he is stumbling, your arrow hits him in the back. He staggers forward, face down in the mud, and then pushes back up and begins.
Still alive?
He's still alive.
Dang it. That was even with the edge?
Oh, you hit your edge. Sorry. Thanks for saying something. Let us find out. He might just be super, super dead. Let's see here. Let's see. What's your injury rating on the bow? Is 14? Yeah, he's good.
Ah, suck. Fantastic roll.
I don't know where that's been all night.
We've been saving up for it.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, he's still alive. He's now a -3 to hit. It is now the orc's turn. So up in the front of the line, this guy is going to charge at Illyri with his spear again. And hit
Whoa!
for 7 points of damage, and I need an armor protection test from you, Illyri.
Dang.
Dang. What am I rolling against?
We'll feast on man-flesh tonight.
Oh, I am definitely using a point of hope.
Okay.
And I don't even need to invoke my cool thing because I just need 1 point, right?
Yep. Because you need 12 and you get 11, so yep.
But I'm invoking it because it's cool and I haven't ever done it before.
So what's it do?
So I get to add the sum of my body plus my heart instead of just body.
Okay.
Which just only brings it up by 2, but because I don't have a big heart. It's
All
7.
right. His spear glances off at this. This time, the jagged black iron tip of his spear thrust forward strikes you, basically right. If the armor had not turned it, it would have been in your lung, and but you do take the 7 points of damage. Sorry, no, you take 10 points of damage because it was an extraordinary success. So you take damage plus the damage bonus plus the damage bonus again, so 10.
Ooh.
I have 1 left.
Well, as it happens, there are more orcs.
Could you also take knockback there instead?
Yeah, I think so. Knockback
Are you
is.
sure you could take knockback instead of when you're gonna? Well, that's when you're gonna be wounded. That's right. Instead of taking a wound, you can knock back. So I don't think she can.
Yeah.
So
no.
wait.
Knockback is what you can do. Go ahead.
So instead of being wounded,
Well, you weren't wounded.
but explain that.
The knockback?
Yeah.
Knockback, if I'm not mistaken, basically says that instead of being wounded, you can basically be knocked back, and you lose your next turn, rather than being wounded.
Okay. Okay. Cool. I just need to
Knockback.
know what it was.
Nope. If
No?
hit, you can choose to take half the endurance loss but miss your next turn.
Oh, okay, so you don't get to skip it.
So
But
you could take
that you
five.
could take knockback.
You
and
could take
still-
5 endurance loss and skip your next turn.
Not a bad idea.
Okay.
I mean, if the ladies in the middle could pull their weight here, we would probably okay.
Who you calling fat?
If I take,
In that case, you would take 5 damage.
I take 5 damage. Okay.
Which would
And
leave you a little more alive.
You'd have 6 endurance left.
okay, and then I can not move right now. I move
Yeah.
later.
And then you would just not be able to do anything until anything on your next turn, which means you stay in the same stance. You can't.
Oh, I can't move stances either.
You can't move stances. You can't do diddly squat.
Cool.
Up to you.
I think specifically Illyri would rather fight
Okay.
Okay.
next round.
Cool.
And
Well, you
take
have
all-
things. Remember, I believe Dunlendings have special things for not going unconscious.
Are you sure? Shh. Did I take that though?
I think that's your. I think that's your actual racial thing.
Okay.
I think that's your actual cultural thing. So you might. You might look at that.
Like that is her literal. Like that's what she would do. kind of
Fierce
thing.
folk. When a Dunlending receives loss of endurance that would make him weary or reduce him to 0 endurance, he may choose to gain a point of shadow and cancel that endurance loss.
Cancel it
Ooh.
altogether.
Yeah, so basically, if you get hit and it reduces you to 0, you can choose to gain a point of shadow and just pretend it didn't happen.
It doesn't say if it reduces you to 0. It says if it makes them weary. That means
Weary.
that,
Here's the actual wording from the book.
but if that is the case, it says makes him weary or reduce him to 0. That means any time that it could make me weary, I could take a point of shadow
Right.
instead.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting.
Indeed. All right. So, that was. Gotta get back to my things here. That was just the first orc. So there are 2 more in the front line. One of them is going to swing at Narvi. Actually, he's going to thrust at Narvi with his spear. And miss. And the other one is going to swing with his bent sword at Narvi, even though it's just not going to do anything. Nope. All right. In the back, the 3 remaining archers loose another volley of arrows, peppering Narvi. Misses. Duvaniel, an arrow comes speeding towards you. And I'm going to say this one, it comes for you, Warsong. Back there singing, making a lot of noise. I'm going to need a protection test from you, Warsong.
Dang.
Also, you take 6 points of damage.
Good
Do I
task.
take the 6 points before the protection?
Yes, you take 6 points of damage regardless, and the protection test is to see if you are wounded or not.
First battle with the new party.
Yeah, this is boding really well for, the rescuing the lamp thing. I'm feeling good about it.
Where's Radagast right now?
Radagast is keeping this whole situation from becoming worse.
Oh, okay. So basically, he's just hanging out on the crane waiting to drop in.
Yep.
Where
Yep.
is protection? Oh, there.
That's your
Armor.
Okay. But Woodcrafty, it's based on. We're in the woods, right? We're in Mirkwood.
We're definitely in the woods.
So
One could say.
when
Creek even.
men fight in the woods, they use their favored wits score as their basic parry rating.
Well, your parry is how hard it is to hit you.
Uh huh.
He rolled a 23, so he hits you regardless.
Okay.
So now you need to do an armor test to see
But-
if it's a wound.
That is good to know in general.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I guess my parry is 6 and my favorite wits is 7, so it doesn't make that huge of a difference. What's the TN?
12, I believe.
Okay.
All right. You're okay, but you did take 7 damage. One of the arrows hits you, doesn't penetrate your armor, but definitely bruises your ribs a bit.
Didn't you say 6?
I said 7. Oh, no, I did say 6. You're right. I did say 6.
Okay.
Okay. That is it for the orcs, except for this dude who's running away. So top of the round, Illyri and Narvi.
Well,
Can't hear you.
Narvi is going to attack this dude with his dramatic. This first guy here. And swing. And great success.
Well, that guy's dead. Just again, you swing your mattock around, and his armor, his skeletal structure, it all gives way in kind of there's like it crumples inward over the mattock and then explodes outward away from the mattock as you spray the black muck and mire behind in front of you with the remains of what used to be an orc soldier. Illyri,
Wait, it is my turn, yeah.
it is your turn.
Yes!
Narvi's just like a orc killing machine. So the bad news is you have a called shot coming towards you next round.
The good news is that's a hit.
Good news is you still somehow managed to hit. Let's see, you're aiming at one of the orc soldiers.
Yep.
So for
And it's plus 11. Does that mean she hits her edge too?
well, it doesn't actually. Well, no, that's not her edge because an eye is not an 11. It's a
Okay.
0.
Yeah.
However, it wouldn't matter anyway because she, as this orc slams its spear into you, and the spear just glances off of your armor. You grab the spear, pull the orc closer, and thrust your own spear into its neck. All right. That means it's time for blonde ladies in the middle. I'll just go left to right, starting with Ranny.
Did you see that, Elf?
Ranny hits and totally kills this guy, like super dead.
No.
Warsong, you're up.
I think I am going to do the singing thing again. She's going to try to, let's see, we did Heart Comrades last time. I think we're going to do Rally Comrades this time.
This is why they call it war song.
It's part of the reason.
Nice.
All right, so you all gain 2. If you have taken damage, you regain. Is a great success is 2, right?
Yep.
I'm checking. I have it open.
It's also on our. It's also on the deck
Yeah,
here.
great success should be 2, I think.
Success is 3.
Oh, well then the thing is wrong.
Yeah, I suspected it was wrong with the last thing you said. That's why I got that.
Okay, well that's what you get for fan-made resources. Anyway, cool, very good.
Ordinary is 2, great is 3, and extraordinary.
That sounds more right to me. It's weird that it was 1, 2, 3. So,
Yeah.
Cool.
So if you take damage, you get 3 back.
Yes.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure the guy who designed this, the combat tracker, was originally designed to be printed, and I think that the guy who made it did it with an older edition of the rules or something like that. So that might be why. All right, very good. So, and then that brings us to Amaswinta, who will rush forward at the orc archer now that there is nothing between her and them, and swings her axe at the one that
Nice.
Duvaniel
On
shot.
the edge.
He's definitely dead. All right, this brings us to the rearward stance. Keloth and Duvaniel. This is at -3 now, as this orc is still trying to crawl away towards Fenbridge Castle. Still apparently scared of Warsong's dog.
Nailed
That'll
him.
do.
That'll do. And so with that, Keloth's arrow, I guess the second arrow he shot at this guy now, as the orc is he goes limp in the mud.
There was like ghostly hands behind him, guiding his arrow.
These two orcs attempt to fire off shots at random at Illyri. This is a called shot, Illyri.
Do I not get a roll?
Oh, yeah, I guess I'll let you roll. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll give you an attack this time. I'm feeling generous tonight.
Aww.
Point of courage for a great success there.
No, I think I'm good.
All right, these two orcs turn and try to flee as they shoot arrows back over their shoulder. One of them taking very precise aim at you, Illyri. Didn't get a great success, so that misses. And the other one shoots a shot at Narvi. And hits for 4 damage. Also, I need a protection test from you, Narvi. But Narvi's wearing like a metric ton of armor, so I don't know why I bother. TN 12.
Protection is armor, right?
Yep.
Boom.
Well, as far as armor goes, you're all right. However, you do take 4 damage. Okay, top of the round.
Looking a bit like a pincushion there, dwarf.
Yeah, Narvi's taken several hits from arrows now, all of which have basically glanced off of his armor. Narvi and Illyri, you are up.
All right.
Alright. Well, we can't hit. Can we hit the archers? I guess at this point.
Yeah, I mean, at this point you can kind of close the distance. They don't
Run
have
them down.
they don't have anybody in.
Oh yeah.
All right. You rush forward, Illyri, and see, great success. Yeah, you rush forward with your spear in hand, and as the archer is turning around, fires an arrow at you, which whistles right above your ear. You kind of take the spear, and he's about 5 or 6 feet in front of you at this point, and you just kind of grip the spear by basically the very back and just throw it forward, and it hits the it's like the tomahawk throw from the Last of the Mohicans that just like hits him right between the shoulder blades, and he just kind of freezes in place for a moment and then pitches forward. Narvi.
That's 2 elf.
If only you weren't almost
So
dead.
Narvi walks up, and kind of or runs up a little bit
Nice.
behind the blue, and kind of holds his mattock up and swings it around, and just like dwarves don't play t-ball as young children, but the motion comes naturally.
Right. They play orc head.
Right, they play orc head.
Yeah.
So he just boom, and the head just goes flying off, and he says, "That's 4."
At this point, you're standing there, kind of among the trees, and the black blood of the orcs is already draining, very blending in very well, you could say, with the black muck and mire of the marsh. Around you, the mists seem to have gathered even more thickly than they were before. And suddenly Radagast is standing in your midst again, and he says,
Quickly, we must leave this place.
and that is where we will stop for the night.
Just before that, Illyria goes, I did start all of the ones for you that you killed. I got them first, and then you killed them. So technically, we shared those kills, so that it's not 4, it's like 6 for me.
Ursula
And
walks up in the middle of this and looks at Narvi. That was amazing!
Narvi,
I...
Devonio, is this game, do they do this often?
I've never seen them do it. Usually, the last time I saw them, they were attempting to catch me.
And you know what we'd have done if we had now.
I'm not sure, but as I recall, if it hadn't been for Radagast, you would have been dead.
Yes, and if it hadn't been for me, you'd all be dead again. Now, as I said, we need to keep moving.
All right. This is what we do to stay... to keep hope.
I'm glad you didn't go with stay sane.
Yeah,
You
I
notice
didn't
I'm
say
not
that.
even competing with the dwarf.
I'm really glad you said that though, because I also need everyone to give me a corruption test,
What?
Dang it.
Why?
which we'll end out with this.
Because we're halfway to hell.
Place is doing dark things.
More than halfway.
We're doing light things. We're killing orcs.
We're 2/3 of the way to hell.
That's wisdom.
It's like fourth most evil place in the history of Middle Earth.
What's the TN?
Suck.
I miss you.
I believe the TN is 18.
What?
Oh, this is gonna suck. Okay.
Shadowlands.
Makes sense. Yep, we are in the dark.
I had a great success.
Nice.
Can we spin hope or anything like
Did you up your wisdom recently?
Uh-huh.
You can spend a point of hope to add your heart.
I got grim aspect.
Is it temporary shadow you
Up,
get or
yeah.
permanent shadow?
What's that? It is temporary shadow.
So when
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Are we getting 1 or 2?
Just one. But you'll have to make these every day while you are staying in scenic Southern Mirkwood.
Yay.
Yep.
Can I carry my great success over for the next day? Worth a try.
Sadly, no. All right, we're gonna stop right there, guys.